This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. There's concern for public safety tonight as the threat from wildfires remains extreme. The province saying late this afternoon that emergency responses and access may be limited or unavailable because of resources. Last night, people in the PA spent a frightening night escaping as evacuation orders forced hundreds out as the fire continues to grow. The CBC's Matt Humphrey has more.
Just go, Mom, just go.
Delaney McIntyre and her 8-year-old fled home to a Pasquiac Cree Nation as the fire closed in.
I was not expecting to see the fire or the trees in flames right there, especially that close to the road. And it seemed like people were kind of hesitant to go and they were asking questions and the police officers were just trying to get everyone to go, like just go to town, go straight to town.
McIntyre was escaping an out-of-control fire burning near Clearwater Lake, but a much larger one is burning just west of the PA. First spotted last Saturday, dry, windy conditions have seen it grow to more than 21,000 hectares in size, almost half the size of Winnipeg.
I was out there at 3:30 this morning. It was glowing. So this morning it's burning. As the dew wears off, as the temperature warms up, the wind picks up, and it's moving again.
Lori Forbes is the emergency coordinator for the RM of Kelsey. Her own home in the area was in danger Sunday night, but was spared. Now she's worried for nearly 400 other evacuees, many now in the PA.
In the north, it's extremely difficult for hotel rooms. We don't have enough hotel rooms. And if any more people are getting evacuated, their move is south. So we really encourage people to do family or friends because then you're content.
Premier Wab Kinew says the province will help, but Manitobans can help as well by obeying fire and travel restrictions.
We've also brought in addition to the fire ban, a backcountry travel ban. So even if you're heading out to Whiteshell, Birds Hill, please check online in terms of what the activities are. It's a very challenging situation already.
Meanwhile, the fire near the PA continues to grow, and no evacuees are going home yet. Matt Humphrey, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Meantime, the RCMP say 2 people have been charged after lighting separate controlled burns in restricted areas that got out of control. Mounties say a 55-year-old from Lake Manitoba First Nation and a 46-year-old from Fort Alexander have both been charged with arson. Dozens of people have been moved out of homeless encampments and into housing since February. It's all part of the province's new strategy to get people off the streets and into homes. Those involved say progress is happening, even though more tents are popping up. CBC's Ian Fraze has more.
So this is one of our units. It's almost ready for tenting, so it's just missing the final coat of paint.
This is one of the 67 new homes the government is reserving for people in encampments.
Nobody should have to call a tent a home when we live in such a rich country.
It's part of the NDP government's plan to gradually end chronic homelessness. The province says these new units show progress. It wants homes for the hundreds who've spent at least 6 weeks on the streets. Since February, 33 people have been moved into homes. Tessa Blakey-Whitecloud says demand is high.
People are saying, when are my units coming online? I want housing too. How do I connect? So there is a hunger for housing.
The 67 units are split between 3 buildings in Winnipeg's West End and downtown. The province isn't saying where to protect tenants' privacy. The units and other supports are costing $6 million. Blakey-Whitecloud says the strategy is working, despite the fact new encampments are popping up.
I think that we can expect that there will be a surge of encampments. There has been every other spring.
The homelessness minister says the solution is more units.
We're trying to get as much housing online as possible to get as many people into housing as possible.
The government says of the 33 people moved into housing through this plan, not one has returned to an encampment. Ian Fraze, CBC News, Winnipeg.
One man has been found dead and another is missing after a boat got stranded on Lake Manitoba. Both men are from Sandy Bay First Nation. They launched their boat into the water yesterday, and witnesses say the two attempted to swim towards shore after the boat malfunctioned. Neither were wearing life jackets. Now, because of the high winds, the rescue boats couldn't be launched. A 22-year-old man's body was found on the shore the next day. The search for a 41-year-old man continues. Manitoba Hydro is cautioning farmers about operating equipment near hydro infrastructure after a tractor collided with one of its towers. As the CBC's Rosanna Hempel reports, it caused Hydro to lose a quarter of its transmission capacity.
Two of Manitoba Hydro's three main transmission lines have been at partial capacity since Tuesday. Hydro says a farm tractor knocked down a tower near Grosse Isle in the Interlake.
There was a significant loss in transmission capacity, which is never good news. It's never good to lose one of your main transmission lines. But there wasn't a great load on our system at that time, so there was no effect on customers, no loss of power to anyone.
Hydro's Peter Chura says it lost at least 23% of its overall capacity. He says if the bipole 1 and 2 transmission lines had gone down in the height of summer or winter when people use more electricity, they may have had to rely on emergency sources of energy. Bipole 1 and Bipole 2 help deliver generating capacity from the Nelson River in northern Manitoba to southern Manitoba. Chura says crews have replaced the damaged high-voltage tower in the Interlake. He expects the transmission lines to be back in service Friday. Chura says it's the third incident in the last week where farm equipment has damaged hydro infrastructure. The other two caused local power outages near Oakville and Russell.
So our main message here is safety. Farmers need to be very careful around hydro equipment because it's potentially dangerous. We're very fortunate there were no injuries in any of these cases.
Chura says last year, farm machinery came into contact with hydro infrastructure 136 times. He says farmers using tall equipment must apply for a clearance permit before using a public road. Rosanna Hempel, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Peter Nygard's defense is taking aim at a former Manitoba Attorney General. Nygard's lawyer argues Kelvin Goertzen undermined the integrity of the justice system by sending the case to Saskatchewan for a second opinion. She calls it an unprecedented move based on political pressure and wants the Winnipeg charges thrown out. CBC's Josh Crabb reports.
Peter Nygard appeared via video in a Winnipeg courtroom Friday from an Ontario prison. He was wearing a green jacket with the collar flipped up, a hat with a toque pulled over top of it, and sunglasses. He was shown on a screen as his lawyer, Jerry Wiebe, appeared in front of a provincial court judge, arguing her client's Winnipeg charges should be stayed. Wiebe argued there was an abusive process in the case, that Kelvin Goertzen, while he was Attorney General and Justice Minister, asked for an outside review of the Nygard case after the Manitoba Prosecution Service decided not to lay charges against Nygard, and that undermined the integrity of the justice system. We're saying he was influenced by outside politics, Wiebe told court. This was literally intervention from the top, a dictate from Mount Olympus. It was mid-2021 when Manitoba's prosecution service decided not to lay charges against Nygard. Nygard's lawyer said Goertzen faced political pressure due to intense media coverage critical of the decision not to charge, and charges against Nygard in the U.S. and Ontario.
And I've lost sleep over it.
Then, a year and a half later, after mounting pressure in the Manitoba legislature, Goertzen said during question period he had instructed the Justice Department to seek a second opinion. The case was sent to Saskatchewan for review and resulted in Nygard being charged with sexual assault and unlawful confinement in 2023. Wiebe argues Goertzen used his authority for political gain. She pointed to comments the AG made about how the decision not to charge bothered him, and he lost sleep over it. A thorough review of the evidence by multiple senior Crown attorneys has resulted in a determination of no reasonable likelihood of a conviction, Wiebe told court. Yet the Justice Minister is not only seeking the review, he's announcing it publicly. Wiebe also pointed to social media posts by Goertzen highlighting the fact Nygard was charged. The judge is expected to hear the Crown's arguments on Monday. Goertzen says in a statement he stands by the decision. Josh Crabb, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Time for a first check on your forecast, reaching 19 degrees this afternoon in Winnipeg as forecast. Our high temperature actually at midnight when we were at 21. Still a warm overnight last night. Still looking at temperatures around 20 degrees in the west at 19 in Brandon, 11 in Thompson, Churchill at -4. Mainly sunny skies. Once again, not a lot to see. A little bit of cloud cover starting to make its way into the province. This sets us up for a mix of sun and clouds as we get into the day on Saturday. Still one air quality alert in place. This for Flin Flon and the Paw. This is because of that wildfire that's burning near the Paw. So it still could get some haze and some local smoke into parts of northwestern Manitoba. +4 in Winnipeg tonight, a mostly clear sky, northeast winds 10 gusting to 20. We'll see that wind really backing off as we get late evening into the overnight hours. +8 first thing in the morning for Winnipeg, and this sets us up for another above seasonal day, 24 degrees in the afternoon. Tomorrow, another windy one though. We'll talk about the wind and the wildfires that are burning when I come back.
Riley. A deal made by the former Progressive Conservative government and a real estate trust belonging to Peguis First Nation to build a daycare is under scrutiny. It comes after the current government froze funds to that project, and that's not all. As the I-Team's Caroline Bargout reports, the location of the daycare doesn't allow community members to access it.
This used to be a private golf course in East St. Paul. In 2021, the Peguis First Nation Real Estate Trust bought it for $12.3 million. The trust is an arm's-length entity created to buy real estate for investment and housing for the benefit of band members. Initially, the Peguis Trust hoped to turn the old golf course into a community with a mix of housing and businesses, but the municipal council turned down their proposal, saying East St. Paul's sewage system couldn't handle 2,000 more homes.
It was only last November, as I mentioned, that we announced that 9 new childcare facilities would be opening in rural and Indigenous communities in Manitoba.
In 2022, the province announced it was spending tens of millions of dollars to build 25 daycares in municipalities across the province. The Peguis Trust was in. They signed on to get a daycare virtually identical to this one in East Selkirk. The trust decided to use 2 acres of the former golf course for their daycare, creating 74 new spaces for East St. Paul families in need. But 150 kilometers away, on the Peguis First Nation Reserve, that didn't sit well with some.
It's not fair at all to our people. When we have to, beg, steal, and borrow to try and get kids into this one down here.
Bruce Sinclair's family members care for his 2 great-grandkids, while his granddaughter works as a nurse at the local hospital. At the Peguis Daycare, all 42 spots are filled, with dozens on the wait list. The Peguis Trust signed a deal with the province to provide 15 years of free rent for the daycare operator, plus snow clearing. The former chair of the trust says this was a good deal for the First Nation, which received a $5 million building and will generate rental revenue in 15 years. Bruce Sinclair says the community is not getting its money's worth.
Well, that's not right. I don't know how they can say they're right in what they're doing.
It's not clear when the daycare will open its doors. The province froze its funds in late 2024 and recently asked the Auditor General to review this and other daycare projects managed by a company called John Q. Public over questions about how the daycare sites were chosen and whether they followed normal municipal or provincial practices. Caroline Bargout, CBC News, Winnipeg.
So far, the city of Winnipeg says the trade war between Canada and the U.S. hasn't really had any financial impact on them. Staff told the city's finance committee today they are monitoring purchases for any tariffs. To date, they say the city has paid $0 in tariffs. The finance chair, Jeff Broady, says the city might not always know when it's taking a hit.
It's probably being rolled into the prices of different things that we're buying. So again, it may not be blatantly obvious that there's a tariff involved in the purchase of something because it was an input cost to making something, but I'm guessing there probably are tariffs out there already.
The U.S. placed tariffs on a range of Canadian products, such as steel and fertilizer. Canada responded with its own tariffs on a list of U.S. goods worth nearly $30 billion. Well, it's a day to celebrate all the special moms in our life, whoever that may be to you. Today, one Winnipeg care home spent the day spoiling its residents to make sure they felt special and appreciated. Zubina Ahmed has more.
Pink balloons, flowers, wine, music, food, and lots of sweet treats. The convalescent home of Winnipeg Care Home organized an afternoon tea for its residents to celebrate Mother's Day. While some celebrated with fellow residents, others were visited by the children and grandkids. Pauline Kolbach is turning 100. She looks forward to celebrating both occasions with her family next week.
Oh, Mother means so much to me because I was able to see them grow up and I was able to travel with them. And it's so very special to be a mother and so very, very beautiful.
Gail Walker, whose daughter visited her today, says this was a thoughtful way to celebrate this occasion.
I feel special, especially seeing my daughter Emily. She's a lovely daughter. I have two daughters, Mary, Rebecca, and Emily is the middle child. I have a son, first oldest boy, and I'm a happy mother. I've always been a happy mother.
Jennifer Russell, the center's recreation manager, says Mother's Day has a special meaning for the residents.
It doesn't matter if you've birthed a child, if you've cared for a plant, if you've cared for a pet, they're all important to us. So we're celebrating all of our ladies today.
Russell says this annual celebration is also a way to celebrate their residents' beautiful bond with their children. Zubina Ahmed, CBC News, Winnipeg.
And a very happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. It's going to be a banner weekend to be spending maybe Mother's Day on a patio or somewhere outside. Some nice temperatures ahead.
Get the sunscreen ready.
The one thing you could smell when you walked out this morning, though, was that smoke from the wildfires. It was sure right there.
Yeah, that's because we saw a shift in our winds overnight to a more northwesterly flow, and that pushed some of that smoke from that fire near the pod down into central and southern Manitoba. I'm going to start by giving you a look at the outline of that fire now. You'll remember I was here yesterday telling you that this fire was about 6,600 hectares. Well, as of this afternoon, now at 20,000 hectares, still out of control. The data on this, not quite updated, but there was another small fire that broke out just outside of Clearwater Lake here in the past 24 hours. So a couple of fires that crews are contending with near the Paw. That's the largest and of the most significant concern in the province right now. And as the winds have started to shift around a little bit more, you can see the smoke from this fire in particular now pushing up toward Flin Flon, Hudson Bay, Saskatchewan, onto the Saskatchewan side of the border. So not much of an issue for southern Manitoba, but certainly those air quality alerts still in place for parts of the north. Another small fire just outside of St. Rose near Crane River, pushing a little bit of smoke down into southern Manitoba. As the winds shift around again, we'll start to see some of that smoke from the northern Manitoba fire being pushed toward Thompson. In the south, though, I still think as we get through the afternoon, you might notice a bit of a light haze tomorrow afternoon. Not much in the way of an air quality concern per se, but just noting that you might see the effects of some of that coming up from the States even as we get into the day on Saturday. Small chance. As we head into Saturday, mix of sun and clouds, a little bit more cloud cover than we saw today across the south. And out of some of this cloud, the potential, at least, for some much-needed rain in parts of western Manitoba. Nothing substantial, unfortunately, but we could see some of that as we get through the afternoon. Slight chance we see some of that overnight into Sunday morning through southern Manitoba, but really that's about it for precipitation for the weekend. Our next substantial chance at some rain doesn't come until we get into the day on Thursday for southern Manitoba, which I'll show you in your 7-day forecast. Overnight temperatures into Saturday morning above seasonal in the west, where there's a little bit more cloud cover hanging around. 8 degrees for Swan River and Dauphin, down to 4 for Gimli, Winnipeg, Steinbach, 2 in Pinawa, 3 in Thompson. Into your Saturday, yeah, we could crack 30 in the southwestern corner of the province, 31 in Melita, 27 in Dauphin, into the teens for much in northern Manitoba as well. And a quick look at your Mother's Day, into the 30s again for southwestern Manitoba, but look at these temperatures, 33s, 34s into the Red River Valley. I'll have a look at your 7-day forecast and a very hot Monday when I come back.
Thanks, Riley.
You're welcome.
The Winnipeg Sea Bears will retire their star player's jersey after he passed away last year. Chad Posthumus spent 2 years as the face of the franchise. The 33-year-old died in November after complications from brain surgery to repair an aneurysm. Prior to the team's season opener against the visiting Edmonton Stingers on May 16th, Posthumus's jersey will be raised to the rafters of Canada Life Centre. Players will also wear a commemorative 33 Forever patch on their jerseys this season.
It's Friday, which means it's Feline Friday, and I advanced through it by accident, but here it is. I have a trio for you. Gray, Tom, and Oreo. Thank you, Lauren in Lorette, for sending your cute kitties in. You can send yours, as always, to talkback@cbc.ca. 24 degrees by the afternoon tomorrow. You'll notice another windy one, south winds 30 gusting to 50 as we get through the day. And then look at Sunday here, Mother's Day, 33 degrees. A breezy day. Bit more wind, maybe a thunderstorm as we get into the day on Monday at 34, 32 for Tuesday, and yes, only 10 degrees by the time we get to Friday. Winnipeg's whiteout parties have sure brought out the creativity in some Jets fans, from the simple white t-shirt to face paint, maybe the bucket on your KFC bucket on your head.
But one Jets fan spent hundreds of hours on what he hopes is a good luck charm. Have a good look in our daily lift. David Twerdoukle made this Jets chainmail jersey last year to celebrate the whiteout. The St. Pierre Joly teacher spent 200 hours making the masterpiece, but he only had one opportunity to wear it last year.
To me, it's just very special. It's special to have the team in the first place, but something that takes that much time, I think, also shows how much we love and care for our team. And I think we see that with the other fans as well, where we spend the time creating and sort of making our own identity. And it's not just we're a color, we're more than that. We have a creative side to us.
He's been reworking this masterpiece over the course of the series. If the Jets win the Stanley Cup, he says he has another concept in mind that he would like to realize, but we will have to wait and see that one. But we can enjoy this one for now.
Right? Look at that.
Wow.
The costumes are one of my favorite parts of the whiteout parties. The games, also an incredible bonus.
200 hours working on that.
Amazing.
200
Tonight,
hours.
8:30, Jets game here at home. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you back here next week.